Hi there, you are listening to the Being Unstoppable podcast, where we talk about being unstoppable in your brand, business, and life. I'm your host, Caralee Fontanelli, and as an entrepreneur, lawyer, course creator, and author, I understand what it takes to strive for the next level. Through 20 years of having several businesses, making a ton of mistakes, and celebrating loads of success, I love to share my secret sauce, tips, and strategies on how you too can become unstoppable. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Being Unstoppable podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in again. It means the world to me, and I know that your time is so precious. So wherever you are tuning in from, whether it's your daily walk or your car ride to work, I hope that you are having a fabulous day. Before we get stuck into this week's podcast, which is going to be amazing, by the way, because I know that social media is something that we all struggle with, and it does take a lot of practice, and some people are better at it than others. And I'm going to share with you how I have cracked the code to make it really simple for me, even though I'm running 3 different Instagram accounts, and how you can be across all of those. But first of all, I would love to share a review with you. So this review is from America, and it's from Aggie. Aggie says, I love listening to Caralee, simple and easy to implement tips, great to listen on the drive to work or while folding laundry, quick and actionable. Thank you so much. And it's awesome to hear that people from the US are tuning in. If you would love to leave me a review, I would love it back in return, and I will give you a shout out. If you want to leave your Instagram handle on there, I can shout out your Instagram handle as well. So it would be amazing. Just go to your iTunes, scroll all the way down to the bottom and leave a review for me there. So let's get stuck into today's podcast about being social media savvy. Now, some people love social media and some people hate it. Do you know what? It's part of our lives these days, and I don't think it's going anywhere. And whether you like it or not, we do need social media for connection and business. And during these COVID times, social media has been really important. It's kept us all connected, which has been really amazing. But how do we be social media savvy where it doesn't take over our lives and we don't fall down that rabbit hole where we start scrolling, and then before we know it, 30 minutes has passed or an hour has passed and we have got distracted and not been doing what we should be. I don't know about you, but sometimes you can log on and then before you know it, a whole bunch of time has disappeared. So how do you be social media savvy? The first point I want to make about being social media savvy is that we need to ensure that it's not all consuming. I know if you love social media and you're real natural at it, it can be really simple and straightforward, and you can make connections really, really easy. For other people, it isn't as easy, and it can be really consuming. You worry about what to write, you're worried about being judged, you're worried about what people are thinking about your post, and you put this immense amount of time and effort into crafting the perfect posts, paying attention to the detail, sitting on the wording, making sure it's all good before you post it, laboring over the photo, and all of that type of thing. And it can be massively consuming. But the thing is that it doesn't necessarily translate to money in your pocket. And the whole point with being on social media for your business is that we want to make sure that it's converting not only into followers, but it's also converting in your business. So sometimes people that have huge communities, for example, they struggle to have any sales from their social media. So it's really, really important that we recognize that it doesn't need to be all-consuming. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that. but it does have to be purposeful when it comes to growing your business. So what are you doing on your social media? Is it all consuming, or is it actually providing purpose for you in terms of bringing business in? So that takes me to my second point. To ensure that your social media is serving you in a really useful way, you need your social media to be valuable content. It needs to be relevant, and it needs to be useful. So those are the 3 pillars of content marketing, which you need to be thinking about when you put out your posts. Is it valuable? Is it relevant? And is it useful? Now, who are we talking about? Is it relevant to? Is it valuable? Or is it useful for? That, of course, has to be your ideal client. So your audience, that's who it needs to be, those 3 things too. We are not posting for the benefit of anyone else other than that person. So each time you're posting, we really need to keep in mind, who are we targeting? So if you haven't done all of that foundational work around who your exact ideal client is, it's really, really helpful when it comes to running your social media to know exactly who that person is. Because then, of course, you can make sure that your content is valuable and relevant and useful to them. So people are going to be attracted to what you post if they are your ideal client. If they're not your ideal client, it's going to repel the people who you don't want to be attracting. And that's perfect, because you're not for everybody. It doesn't matter what business you have. You are not for everybody. You cannot be. You are best off targeting that one ideal client. And I know how hard it is to niche down and really think about that one ideal client, because so often when we're in business, we're just happy to serve anyone who comes through the door. But that's not the way that you grow and scale your business. You grow and scale your business by really appealing to that one section of the community that you are going to be able to make an impact for. My next point on how to be social media savvy is to not take your social media so personally. This is the thing. You can't be everybody's cup of tea. You're not going to appeal to all the people who look on social media. And the thing is that you'll have people who follow you and stick with you, and then you'll have people that don't. And you know what? It doesn't matter. They're not your people. So it's really important to not take any of it personally and to move on. So sometimes people really worry about the trolls out there. And I've got a lot of social media experience, and I haven't really experienced anything like that before. Even though I have been on social media for so long, I've got lots of people following and all of that kind of thing. But if I ever have had any problems with that, there's so many ways you can deal with it by blocking, muting, or deleting. But the point is that you don't need to worry about it. You can just protect yourself, and you can move on really quickly. And so with social media, it's really important that you don't take any of it personally. My next tip is to be authentically you. No one wants someone who's in sales pitch mode all the time. It's really important that you are able to just be authentically you. And if you can manage to do stories, it will really, really help you. Not everyone wants to see polished pictures for every single post, or a marketing post for every single post. So you've got to mix those things up and be really real and authentic, and that can really help. And do you know what? It's much easier being authentic than pretending to be something that you're not. So by tuning into who you actually are and sharing that on social media, you will find that it's a lot easier to attract the right people to you. The next way that I'm social media savvy is that I actually have a VA who does all the scheduling. They do all the graphic design. They do all of that stuff. They put it all together on a social media platform called Later, but there's many different social media platforms and scheduling platforms that you can use. They put it all together, and then all I have to do is go in and check, make sure I'm happy, and then approve it. Now, this makes life so much easier because it means that you're not sitting there having to post and waste time posting on social media every day. What it means is that your time is free for things that you love and enjoy. And it's fabulous because you are employing someone. You are giving someone work and they love the work that they do, and you can have more time. So really, you can automate your social media. So that takes me to my next point, which is to repurpose your posts. This is the thing. Not everyone sees your posts every time you do a post. So you can delete old posts and post them again. It's totally fine to do that. You don't have to have brand new content every single time. You can repost old posts. You can also post the same post on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, for example. You don't have to have separate ones for each platform. Make life easy for yourself. Don't make it more complicated. I think sometimes we think, oh my goodness, we have to come up with new ideas and new posts all the time, and it's so hard, and I don't know what to write, and I get so stuck, I'm just not sure, and that's where it can become really time consuming, and that's where you're not being social media savvy, right? Repurpose, reuse, it's totally okay. No one's going to criticize you because you posted that post 3 months ago, and it can also help to clean up your feed. This is the thing. No one is sitting there scrolling back through your old feed. There might be the odd person that does that, but the majority of people are not doing that. So you can screenshot or copy and paste your old posts, and you can repurpose them if they are relevant and useful to your audience. Why not? Don't keep creating new content if you don't have to. And it's not that you're going to do this with every single post, but you might do it a few times here and there throughout the month so that you're recycling useful content. In the knowledge that the majority of people won't have seen your post anyway, because not everyone gets to see everything. So my next savvy tip is to bulk prepare and batch your content. So for example, if you've got a social media person helping you out, that's how they will be doing it. But if you are doing it yourself, write, design, and compile all of your social media assets ahead of time in batches. So you might do a whole month's worth of social media posts in one sitting. So that's the way that we do it here. And it really does help save on a whole lot of time. So we bulk it and then we put it into a scheduling app, which is super, super helpful. But then as life unfolds during the week or the month, I'll hop on and I'll do a post, or Bree, my PA, will hop on and she'll do a post as well to help out. So it is keeping things relevant and fresh throughout the month as well. My final tip on how to be social media savvy is to have a set of content topics. So for example, you might have 9 different types of content that you're going to be sharing on social media. So you write down what those 9 types of content are. And those could be testimonial, a review, it could be a quote, it could be a why we do what we do. It could be a case study of this is how we helped a client out. You could have one that is about being funny and engaging, because let's face it, we all love fun and funny. We don't want to be bored when we're scrolling through social media. It is social, right? So that might be one of them. So once you've got all of this content structured out, it becomes super, super easy. So say you have 9 or 7 or whatever it might be of these ideas, then you might choose to do one a week from each of those different topics. So you might share a quote once a week. You might share a review once a week. You might share something funny once a week, and so on. And that really does simplify things and helps you to be so much more savvy when it comes to your social media. Just remember that you need to be valuable, relevant, and useful to your ideal audience. So whoever your ideal client is, that's who we are creating our posts for. When was the last time you sat down and you mapped out your ideal client? If it has been a while, go back and do that. If you need help doing that, that's the sort of thing that we do in the Scalable Business Society. We sit down and we really get clear on those foundations. Because how can you attract your ideal client if you don't know who your ideal client is, right? So we get really clear on that. And then all these other things fall into place, like how we post our social media, how we can be savvy with our social media. It all becomes crystal clear, and your business starts to become automated and simple and really scalable. And that's everything that we focus on in the Scalable Business Society. So if you would love to know more about the Scalable Business Society, I would love to chat with you. You can DM me at caralee.fontanelli on any of the social media channels. Oh, and talking about social media channels, have you yet heard of Clubhouse? So I have joined Clubhouse. If you are on Clubhouse, you can find me. My handle is Caralee. It's Cara-Lee. You will find me there, or you can search my name, Caralee Fontanelli. You'll find me there as well, I am sure. I don't know much about it yet, but I am excited to learn more. So what Clubhouse is it's a new social media platform where it's just voice, which is so exciting because all of the other social media channels that we've just even been talking about are very visual, right? It's all about how things look. It's all about copy. It's all about that sort of stuff. Clubhouse is like a podcast in a way, but it's live talks and live chats. And you can join these rooms and go into these live chats, which is super exciting. So if you are on Clubhouse, please come and find me. If you're not yet on Clubhouse, join up. I can invite you if you want. You can DM me on Instagram, any of that sort of thing. So anyway, I hope that you've really enjoyed today's episode on how to be more social media savvy. I've most certainly enjoyed sharing my tips around this because, as you know, if you follow me, you'll know that I absolutely love social media. Until next week, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Being Unstoppable podcast, brought to you by my personal brand, Freebies, which you can find at caraleefontanelli.com. If you got value from this week's episode, I would love it if you would hit subscribe and take a minute to leave me a review. You can connect with me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for Caralee Fontanelli. Until next time, remember, if you believe in yourself, you will be unstoppable.